But let's talk about this though. The East, man. It's a lot of movement going on. You can start at the Miles Turner deal. You can start at Dame getting released. Wherever you want to start in the East. Giannis getting upset about the news. Wherever you want to start, it's all yours, man.
Well, those three are all essentially one topic. So let's talk about that. So the Milwaukee Bucks waive Dame, and as a result of waiving Dame, they still owe him over the next 5 years $22 million, which is the most anybody in NBA history has been owed who was not under contract as the result of a waiver. Here's the thing. Dame is old. Dame is old. He has been injured through 2 playoffs back to back. He's coming off of an Achilles.
Yep.
It's a business. I understand wanting to move assets and move salary cap around so you can bring in Miles Turner. I think Miles Turner is a very good player. I'm happy he's not in Indiana anymore. So I'm never going to be mad at this move because it got Miles Turner out of Indiana. That being said, you couldn't have found anyone that would be willing to trade for him, for Dame. Wasn't any team desperate enough
That's a tough sale, bro.
It is. I get it. I mean, I wouldn't do it. If the Knicks did it, I would go to Madison Square with pitchforks and torches, right? So, like, I understand that it's a hard sale. But I mean, if another team could have theoretically restructured his contract and like tried to get him for pennies on the dollar, I think it may have been worth it for either a team that's trying to win now and push to win now, or a team that's in a rebuild, or, like, I mean, at least try for, I don't know if they did, maybe they did.
Yeah.
I guess that would be my only criticism is I think you could have managed to make a trade. And like, people are going to be mad because of the personal aspect. And I get that, right? Like, you gave up Drew Holiday and brought in Dame, and Dame played through his injury for you to try to make something out of the first round in this last playoffs. And him and Giannis are friends, right? So like, I understand from a personal aspect, like it feels like a dick move, but like, one, Dame is getting free money now. I can't imagine why he'd be all that upset. And 2, it's a business, right? Like, you can't put all of your money and cap into somebody. He's probably not going to be coming back until like the tail end of next season. And he's probably not. I mean, he might not be even as good as he was, which was already in a declining state.
Yeah,
if you had tried to keep him, you may have only had him for like a year or 2 more, and with most of this next season cut out.
Hey, Randy, let's just cut this shit. What would Dame would have been? What? I mean, you're talking about 2 playoffs just gone for it. Now a very serious, significant injury, and at the age that he's at, like you said, in a declining role, skills wise. Say what you want. We love Dame, yeah, but let's keep it buck. He was declining. All right,
yeah.
So you throw Achilles injury on a declining player? Huh? What exactly did you think?
Yeah, and you're not even going to have him next season. Like, almost Milwaukee's not going anywhere, right? Milwaukee's not going to become a good team. Dame was probably not going to be playing much of next season, if at all. It wouldn't really even make sense to try to bring him in for the tail end if you're already like in tank mode. So they probably wouldn't have even played him next year to begin with.
Hey man, and
you have to risk re-injuring him if you do try to bring him back too early. So they probably would have just they waived him to otherwise not just have someone sit there for a whole year.
Eating cap.
Yeah, eating cap, exactly. When they could have brought in a young, talented center.
Who's a swing center.
Yeah, who can shoot.
Yeah. I know he had a bad finals, and y'all can rag on him for that. Cool. He deserves that.
Yeah.
But simple, cool Miles Turner makes those shots. I don't know what happened in the finals. All right, cool, whatever.
Yeah.
But let's so that leads to the next part of this whole tangled thing. Giannis got word of me. He's upset. And you know what this is? Well, you know what I thought of when I saw that? This is just Giannis needing an excuse to actually formally ask for the trade request.
Yeah. And he was going anyway. We knew he was going anyway. The worst case scenario is you may have put yourself in a position where you have to sell him for less because he's forcing himself out regardless, and other teams know that, right? But that was already basically the case.
Bingo. And the thing about it is, Randy, you look at this overall situation. I know they brought in Miles Turner, but you got to have at least something of substance in that small market team because they've already blown up the championship pedigree of that team. Gone. It started with Budenholzer. That was the first piece that got gone. Then you see Middleton gone. Then you see Drew Holiday gone.
Brook Lopez. Yeah, he's on the Clippers now.
Gone. I think Bobby Portis some reason re-signed, but obviously you're Bobby Portis. You take whatever check you get.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest. Come on.
Yeah.
That's not a slight on Bobby Portis. He made it to the league. Congratulations. But I'm just saying there's other 29 teams that are probably not checking for Bobby Portis right now. That's all I'm saying.
You can still move him into a package of some kind. Like it's not like that's off the table now. If you get make a good deal, if you find something.
Yeah. And so like he takes a check. Cool. Whatever. You bring in other pieces, but the pieces that they're bringing in aren't they're not significant pieces that you're saying we're going to move the needle and be a championship quality team. I think they're just, filling out a roster.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm Giannis, I'm like, yeah, I didn't sign up just to fill out a roster. I like to compete. I want to win. And I think that from what we've seen of Giannis, that's his mentality. He wants to win. So of course, but you need a reason to at least formally say why I need a trade request, and just add this to whatever him and his team want to cook up to say, hey, this is our. That's what I thought of when I saw, Giannis is upset about what happened to Dame. No, you're not. Did good and damn well. This is a smart basketball business move. This is.
Yes.
But come on.
He might be personally, but that's why he doesn't run the office. Because you can't run the office that way. It's just unfortunate. I've seen even my teams make cutthroat moves with players that I really like, but at the end of the day, I get it, right? I don't think every team always makes a right move, but I can't really argue that this wasn't the right move. The only problem is just how much dead cap they're eating. But that may not have been avoidable. You may not have found another team that was willing to take on that contract. So this is the next best thing if you can.
Oh, you got to, because nobody's eating that money for a declining Dame off at Achilles. Nobody's doing that. It's just so. Some other things happened. Obviously, we had the NBA draft. Let's
talk about that a little bit.
What I've had my take on the Ace Bailey situation. Real quick, what's your take on that whole shindig that went down, man?
I think it's very weird when teams take players that they know don't want to play for them. I think that's a very weird choice, and I don't really understand why teams do it. I know that Ace Bailey doesn't have the same connections of an Eli, so his ability to pull an Eli is probably limited. Yeah. But I don't even think it was clear that he was the best player at that point, right? If they had taken Trey Johnson or Fears, would they have been in a worse position? I just don't really understand. He doesn't want to play for you. You know that he's probably not going to give his best effort now that he's there, because he doesn't want to live in Utah. Because who wants to live in Utah, bro? I get it.
Yeah.
He refused to practice for you, and I saw your piece on that, and I agree. From this isn't a moral judgment of him or anything. I understand not wanting to risk injury, and if this isn't a team you want to go to anyway, save your energy for when you do. I understand the logic of it, but if you're the team and you look at that, it's just okay, he's not motivated to play for us. And there are players that are at least as good that will still also be available at that spot. And it's not like Utah only needed his very specific skill set. They need everything.
They need a lot.
Yeah. So I thought that was a really weird choice. I don't understand why teams do that. It just seems like you're just asking for there to be drama in your locker room with no real substantial gain you couldn't have gotten with the other two guys taken immediately after him.
Fair. And I know when he showed up for the press conference, people are like, oh, he's definitely faking it. And I'm just like, so? He showed up. All right. Hey, look, we don't know what's going to happen when shit hits the fan. Hell, he might enjoy his summer league time. He might look. I've been through Utah. I haven't had a personal stay in Utah. All right. Utah is a state where it's beautiful. If you like outdoors, Utah's your shit. All right. All right. That is for you. Camping, mountains and snow and shit. That is up your alley. All right. That is all for you. All right. Now I do got a degree in the snow bunny. So there's that. So if Ace Bailey wants to dip into bunnies, he got plethora. And the Mormons, don't let them fool you. They some freaks. All right.
That's true.
All right.
That is true. That sexual repression will do that to you.
Hey, I'm trying. I could share some things, but I ain't trying to sleep on the couch tonight. So I'm just gonna let you know, personal experience. Ace Bailey, you're not in a bad situation. But look, at the end of the day, look, you don't have control where you go to. This is still a person's dream to be in the NBA. At the end of the day, I still believe that Ace Bailey is going to be like, you know what? I'm in the NBA. I'm out to ball out. I'm out to show up and show out. So I get people want to tear the young man down and tear his team down. But the guy was predicted to be a lottery pick. He went in the lottery slots. I don't think it hurt. The strategy didn't really affect his situation. You know what I'm saying? Draft wise. Okay, I get it. You didn't prefer to go to Utah. It is what it is. All right. So management team, get in your man's head. Hey, get it out your head. This is where we are. Let's make the best of it. Let's make the best of it. Because let's be honest, if Utah's really not going nowhere, but you're still shining, you're an asset. You're an asset. And not only that, you would be a commodity for somebody else that would be willing to give premium assets back to Utah to get you. So this is not the end of your NBA story. It may be the start of it, but we've seen countless times again, careers can change real quick. All right. Yeah. The path can change real quick. So you're in the league, bro. You're in an elite club. Go do what you do.
Facts. Yeah. I agree with that. I think that once you get to the NBA, I don't know what his personal attitude is. Because they always do that, right? Like anybody who doesn't immediately do whatever the teams tell them to do is a problem, right? Like they have a bad attitude, whatever. So we don't really know to what degree there's a potential attitude problem.
Well, damn, Jacob, I didn't do some great things with the Mormons. I didn't know this bad. Like, damn, they he said I had a buddy leave his wife for a Mormon girl.
Wow.
And then she dumped him after he broke it off with his. That's some ruthless. I didn't know they was ruthless like that. Anyway, let's keep the conversation moving.
Yeah. So it would be in Ace Bailey's interest if he does give it 100% and does show out, even if it's just for the point of impressing another team at some point, right? Like you don't want to be the guy who didn't work out for your team because you had a bad attitude, right? Because that'll affect your ability to go somewhere else in the future.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm sure somebody's telling him that.
Yeah. Oh, big facts. So now that the draft is over, now it's on Ace. It's on you because Summer League is right around the corner, and then hey, we'll see what he puts on the film. So last topic on the NBA before we move on to the NFL and some other things. So there was a player that we discussed on this show before that we knew were going to get traded and eventually happened. Michael Porter Jr. Got traded to Brooklyn. Back to Denver comes Cam Johnson. I'm gonna be honest with you. Randy, before we discuss the trade, if there's any team that I really love what they've done in the last 48 hours, I love what the Denver Nuggets have been doing. They add Bruce Brown back, help win the championship. So that's more championship pedigree back in your building. Swapping out. Well, okay, I'll wait for the trade. There's some other pieces that they get. I can't remember that they done. That's been it's escaping my mind.
I know who you're talking about. The center they just got also in addition to that.
Valanciunas, yes,
Valanciunas.
It may not seem like a big deal, but when Joker needs his rest, Valanciunas is a great rebounder, rim protector, and there'll be times he'll sneak around and drop 15 for you. And for him, that's a career night.
Yeah.
So
and it's really especially important for them to get a defensive center. I mean, the fact that Jokic is an offense far primary center and defense was their reason for firing Mike Malone. It is their weakness. Bringing in a defensive center to either maybe play the four for some minutes or alternate with Jokic on the floor when they need that rim protection. Really good move. It fit a very important need for them, and now they're gonna have a full game of good center play.
I can really see now. Normally, you probably wouldn't do this in today's NBA, but I can see, like you said, I can see a point where whoever they already elevated guy from to head coach job. I forget his name. Alderman. I think his son. I remember Rick Alderman. That's his pops, I believe. I can see Valanciunas at a 5, and literally giving Joker the freedom to do whatever the hell he want at the 4, the point forward if he wants to do that, the point center, whatever you want to call it, and run the offense however free will he wants because he's not getting stuck in the paint on the offensive side.
Yep.
And you don't have to spell his energy on the defensive side, which is the point you bring up, which I love. Adding Valanciunas is literally what Minnesota tried to do with the Karl Anthony Towns and
Gobert, yes,
situation.
But it's similar to what I've been saying that I want the Knicks to do with Cat and Mitch, right? Like it's that same kind of dynamic. If you have two bigs, if your best big is an offensive player, making sure that they're playing with another big who's a really good defender, like fills out the front court right there.
Yeah,
it's great.
I love that move. Getting Tim Hardaway Jr. I thought was a good move. That's a solid depth piece. Getting him. I just love what they did. They even, believe it or not, this sounds crazy, and I might be putting more into it than others. I love the fact that you add JJ Barea, who's a champion. You add him to your coaching staff. That's more championship pedigree in your building. You can't sneeze on that. All right. All I'm saying is just look at just the grand scheme of what the Nuggets have been doing over the last 48 hours. I absolutely love how they are really building a championship all-around team on both the defense and the offensive side. And moving Michael Porter Jr. So let's get to that trade part.
Yeah.
Now, I kind of think offensively, I think they're equal offensively. All right. Where's the separation. I love the defensive Cam. All right. I love that. All right. Here's the only knock. You're kind of dealing with the same thing with Cam as you did with Michael Porter Jr. Injuries.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like my only knock on that is like you pretty much just traded for the same player, hindsight.
Yeah. I felt the same way. I definitely agree with that. I think the increase of defense makes it worth it. Because I mean, like we said, like that was their weakness. So like you traded a player for a player with a very similar skill set, but is a better defender. And then you added a defensive center, right? Like they're doing the smart thing. They're building on the team that they have. Yes, they made a trade, but it was more or less an even trade.
Yeah.
You know, like they're not blowing it up and changing everything. Like they're just building on the core that they have, making tweaks here and there, tweaks that make sense, tweaks that are smart, tweaks that address what it is that held them back, so it's no longer holding them back.
Small little tweaks. And that's exactly how I felt about the trade. I was like, oh, you just added defense. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because literally, if you really look at how Cam and Porter Jr.'s careers have played out, it's almost mirror image. I mean, hella potential, great offensive skill set, but an injury bug that's literally capping their potential.
Right.
And here's a great thing about it for both of them, whether it's Porter Jr. or Cam, if they get that under control, watch it unlock. Watch everything unlock with both of them guys. Because I remember watching Cam when he was in Phoenix. I was like, he's sticking out for some reason. I like this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went to Brooklyn, and he got lost in Brooklyn's little mess going on. And I was like, then the injury started popping. I'm like, damn. And then when I saw the trade, I'm like, crazy thing is, you know how we talked about Porzingis is 29 and still got a chance to turn his whole career around? Cam Johnson's what, 26, 25?
Same he's young. Mm-hmm. Right. No, exactly. It was a smart move.
Yeah.
As far as the Nets, I think the Nets are, especially considering all the picks that they have, they're making a lot of moves and a lot of trades. I don't think they're going to immediately be good, but like I like that they have a lot of activity going. I like that they're adding stuff, right? They're adding young guys, a young core to build around. And maybe in a couple of years it'll work out and be something, right? Like I kind of like the direction they're going in a little bit. I'll say that.
Yeah, fair point. We was meant to get off NBA, but just real quick, I feel like SGA left some money on the table.
Okay, wait, go further. Go further. Tell me.
It is because had he. After everything that I was looking at, and as a fallout of him getting the extension today, it was so had he waited next year, you're looking at 5-year 380. He went for 4 years 285.
Okay, I think that. I don't know if it was intentional or not. Maybe it was just smart for the team to not wait until next year. I think it's good if you're star player, because I mean, like the entire reason the OKC has been incredible is because no individual player is taking an insane amount of money, or at least that was the case. Youth picks and cap space, right? Like and that was what made them so powerful. I think that OKC was smart to do it this year if they were able to do it on a cheaper deal, because I mean, champion, finals MVP, the best deal you can get off of that, because his market is through the roof right now.
Oh
yeah, the best deal you could get off that, if you're able to get that without waiting a year and extending it further, because you don't know what's going to happen next year, right?
True.
I think it was smart. I think it was good business off of OKC's side. If you say like Shea could have made some more money, sure, but would the team have been better for that?
Fair.
Yeah.
No, fair point. That's why I just wanted to talk about it real quick, because trust me, I was waiting for that part of the argument to come from me. I'm like, yeah, and that makes total sense. Is if you want to keep this window open, you don't need to take the most money. But you still get yours, which he did.
Yeah, exactly. He's not going to starve.
Yeah, he's not going to starve. But like you said, especially when if you want to keep the window open longer and not shorten it, it's okay with leaving a little $100 million on the table.
Right. You can add to the core you already have that way. Like I know OKC is still looking around free agency to just pile on. And, the fact that they're in a good position to do that.
They're not done.
They're not done.
I actually kind of think they're now that Milwaukee's falling apart, I'm just saying happen?
Yeah, I think it's a possibility. It would break the NBA. Like, it would be the KD Warriors all over again. But
hey, look, we're gonna get more than just fireworks on July 4th this weekend. All right, get ready. Me and Randy had tried to prepare you all for it. We have tried to tell you multiple times. There's still names that haven't been moved that we know for a fact are going to be moved. We were right about MPJ. All right, we're 100% right. Michael Porter Jr. had to go. All right. There's a guy in Milwaukee. He ain't happy about his partner got released today. I'm just saying.
So before we get off NBA, also just two things that I wanted to talk a little bit about. We can just talk about it briefly. Lopez going to the Clippers. What do you? I really like that move for them. I know it's not one of like the flashiest moves, and like Lopez is a bit older, but like they got two really good centers now between him and Zoo. Size. You know, yeah, size. They got, you know, when the 15 or 20 games Kawhi plays, like that's a good defense right there.
But we just talked about it. The two big man combo. Zoob's going to be your defensive rebounder. Lopez can shoot.
Yeah, and he can block shots. He can rim protect too. So you got both. You got both of those things.
Yeah. So you definitely upgraded your defense, and you found you a big man that can stretch the floor. So, like you said, small move, but for basketballers, hoopers, I think that's a solid move for the Clippers, for sure.
Yeah, I like that move a lot for them. And the other thing in the NBA draft, the Pelicans making the trade to move all the way up to get Derek Queen, giving their unprotected first for next year with the Hawks. I don't know if you picked up on that, because I heard a lot of people talking about that. Like, what are the Pelicans doing? Like, have the Pelicans lost their mind? Has Dumars lost his mind? I don't know if you had any thoughts on that.
So here's my thing. Joe Dumars was part of the Bad Boy Pistons, all right? And I bring that up to make my point. The Bad Boy Pistons did everything not the conventional way of the basketball times that were going around. They pretty much ushered in the rough and rugged, beat your ass defense type of basketball. All right, don't get me wrong. There was some physicality in the in the 80s and all this, and fights happen. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about the Bad Boy Pistons of an attitude. All right, I'm talking about the attitude,
style of play,
the attitude that came with it, and it translated into what that team was, what the Bad Boys Pistons was. All right, take that same mindset, and believe it or not, I think, and I just feel that Joe Dumars is applying that same kind of mindset to building this roster.
Aggressive,
not the conventional way, doing something that looks unorthodox to most, because most don't do it. But the Pistons did something, a part of the basketball era, that was not everybody else was doing. So when they came in and did what they did, it was like, oh, how do you really react to something you've never seen before? And then they mess around, and if it wasn't for the Pistons, we're talking about the 80s getting dominated by two teams. And then they literally went back to back in a period where you're thinking, there's no way nobody's supposed to get back to back not named LA or Boston. What are you doing? That was really smack dab in the middle of two dynasties of Boston and LA, and then bam, right behind them was the damn Bulls.
Right.
We're talking about literally a smidgen of piece of NBA history that somehow by the casuals get lost. I don't know how, which is crazy. But for your basketball heads, man, that Bad Boys little 2-year championship, that speaks volumes for hoopers. So you take that same mindset and apply it to now him being in the front office, and this isn't Joe Dumars' first crack at being in the first front office. We saw he was part of that same 04 championship front office in the Pistons that won a championship. What was the same attitude and mindset of that one? The same way he played and his squad played.
Okay. Do you think that do you think that he just really thought that Derek Queen was so much his guy? Because the big criticism that I made of this was, you're gonna suck this next season. There's no Zion's gonna play like 5 games. You have Jordan Poole. Like, it's not a good situation. And because of that, their pick next year is going to be very high. You're probably going to have like a top 5,
a lottery
at least 10, definitely 10, possibly 5 pick.
Mm-hmm.
A lottery pick, exactly. Giving that up to move, I think it was like 10 spots to get Derek Queen, they would have had to see something very special in Derek Queen to make that make sense. And
yeah,
that's a lot to put on Derek Queen, who was like a middle of the first round pick, to say, I'm giving up on the top guys of next year, which I probably will have access to, for Derek Queen. What did you get a chance to look at Derek? Like, what do you think? What do you think Derek Queen is going to add to the team if you had to say as why they would be willing to give so much to make that happen?
Well, before I answer that, I just think just mentally, and obviously I don't know Joe Dumars, but I just think this is just him mentally following his plan and not being afraid to take on the criticism.
Okay.
Like I said, he's always done and always been part of things that are just unorthodox. And sometimes when you believe in your guy, you just go get him.
Yeah. Sure.
And to be honest, so with Queen, if you go get him now, if you feel that next year, giving up that pick, because I'm with you, giving up that type of high draft pick next year, you're telling me that you don't see nothing that's going to be coming out next year that's going to be equivalent to Derek Queen. That's what I'm getting.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and I mean, some of the best players ever were picked either in the late first or the second round. Like, you can find diamonds in the rough that people don't expect to be stars if you have like the eye for it. So maybe that's just what they thought they had with Queen.
He might be his Kawhi Leonard. We didn't know what Kawhi Leonard was going to turn out to.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Kawhi Leonard would have been a solid NBA player because I saw what his game was at San Diego State, but I didn't think he would turn into what he was. No.
Yeah, it's true.
And sometimes you just can't. And I love their coaching staff. I know it kind of sucks, you know. I forget his name. Willie Green. I know he's young. You know what I'm saying? I know he's young, but you know, I love the job that he did was a couple of years ago, taking that team to a nice little playoff run. I know they eventually got eliminated, but just to be in that position, you know, and look, I just think sometimes when you got Pelicans across your jersey and then that guy Williamson is never available, it kind of shoots your shit in the hole because that's what your franchise was built about. Yeah. It was about building around him, and he's not available. So, yeah, when you got the biggest piece of your blueprint that was supposed to be there that you built around, and he's never there, there's not going to be a lot of success going on until you finally just admit, like, all right, we got to reset.
Yeah. Okay. All right, fair enough. All right.
Yeah. Silent Hill TD, yes, what's up? Yeah, come on. Yeah. LW Sports Network, late night edition. Let's go. Come on.
We about to raise the bar.